Have you ever noticed that your brain fights you hardest right before you're about to do something important? Like there's this invisible force that makes checking your phone feel easier than studying, or makes lying in bed feel better than going to the gym. Well, that force isn't in your head. It's real, it's chemical. But by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to beat it. Today, I'm going to show you the one thing that makes hard tasks feel impossible. Therefore, the simple way to flip that switch. We'll cover why your brain betrays you, how to win back control. Plus, I'm saving the most powerful technique for the very end. One that makes doing hard things feel almost automatic. But first, we need to talk about why everything feels so difficult right now. The real reason you can't focus. Your brain runs on a chemical called dopamine. Think of it like fuel in a car. When your tank is full, you feel motivated. You want to work, you want to learn, you want to move. However, when your tank is empty, even simple tasks feel like climbing a mountain. Here's the problem. Modern life is designed to drain your dopamine tank. Every time you scroll social media, your brain gets a huge spike of dopamine. Every time you eat junk food, another spike. Every time you watch YouTube shorts, another spike. Your brain loves this. It feels amazing. But then something happens. As soon as you stop, your dopamine crashes below normal. Way below normal. Scientists call this a dopamine deficit state. But you don't need fancy words to know what it feels like. You feel tired, bored, empty, like nothing sounds interesting anymore. Therefore, when you try to study or work out or focus on anything hard, your brain says no. Not because you're weak, not because you lack discipline, but because you literally don't have the fuel needed to find that activity rewarding. Think about it like this. You're asking your brain to run a marathon when you're running on mental fumes. Of course it refuses. The pleasure-pain balance. Your brain operates on a balance. On one side, you have pleasure. On the other side, you have pain. When you do something that gives instant pleasure, like scrolling, your brain tips toward pleasure. However, your brain hates being off balance. So as soon as you stop scrolling, it tips hard the other direction, toward pain. This is why you feel terrible after wasting an hour on your phone. This is why you feel guilty after eating a whole bag of chips. Your brain is rebalancing itself. But here's what most people miss. The balance works both ways. When you do something hard first, something that feels uncomfortable, your brain tips toward pain at the start. However, as soon as you stop, it tips back toward pleasure. This is why you feel amazing after a workout. This is why you feel proud after studying. This is why hard things make you happy. But only if your motivation battery isn't already drained. The deadly cycle. Picture this. A college student sits down to study for finals. Opens the textbook. Stares at it for 30 seconds. Boom, phone in hand. 5 minutes of Instagram becomes 45 minutes. She finally puts the phone down, tries again. Can't focus. Feels terrible about herself. Why am I so lazy? Therefore, she grabs the phone again for comfort. This is the cycle most people are trapped in. First, they drain their dopamine with fast activities. Scrolling, snacking, shopping, whatever. But then they see other people succeeding. Therefore, they think, I should be doing more. They try to force themselves to work. However, they fail because they're running on empty. So what happens next? They feel bad about themselves. They criticize themselves. This feels terrible. Therefore, they seek comfort. They scroll more, eat more, distract more. But this drains even more dopamine. The cycle repeats forever, unless you break it. Breaking free. The first step is simple but brutal. You need to reclaim your dopamine. Make a list right now. Write down everything that makes you feel good immediately but leaves you feeling drained after. Social media, junk food, shopping, TV shows you watch without thinking. Whatever your list includes, these are your dopamine thieves. But don't try to quit everything at once. That's too hard. Instead, schedule these activities. Only scroll between 6 and 7 p.m. Only eat snacks on weekends. Create rules. However, stick to them. When you first stop these activities, you'll feel worse. This is normal. Your brain is rebalancing. It takes 1 to 3 days to get back to normal. However, once you're there, everything changes. Suddenly, hard things don't feel as hard anymore. Now, here's where most productivity videos end. They tell you to avoid distractions and hope for the best. But that's only half the battle. There are 4 more critical steps that separate people who succeed from people who try hard but fail anyway. Step 2. Reframe the pain. When you're doing something hard, your brain screams at you to stop. The discomfort feels bad, it feels wrong. However, this is where most people mess up. They think discomfort means they should quit. But discomfort is actually the signal that you're doing it right. When you feel that urge to check your phone during study time, that uncomfortable feeling, that's your brain building new pathways. That's growth happening in real time. So instead of fighting the discomfort, label it. Say out loud, "This is hard, but that's exactly what I need to find it rewarding later." Or try this one. "This is what hard feels like. This is where most people quit, but not me." Words matter. The way you interpret discomfort determines whether you push through or give up. Step 3. Win the evening. Here's something nobody talks about. Tomorrow's motivation is created tonight. If you spend your evening scrolling and snacking, you'll wake up in a dopamine deficit. Therefore, you'll struggle all day. However, if you protect your evening, you wake up strong. Your evening routine doesn't need to be complicated. Just follow these rules. Turn off all screens by 9 p.m. No big decisions after 9 p.m. Your brain is tired and will make poor choices. Go for a short walk if possible, but then do something calming. Read a book, stretch, write in a journal. The key is avoiding fast dopamine before bed, because what you do in the evening determines who you are in the morning. If this is helping you, hit that like and subscribe. It really helps. Step 4. Time it right. Your brain isn't the same person all day long. For the first 8 hours after you wake up, your dopamine and energy are highest. This is when hard work feels easiest. Therefore, this is when you should tackle your most important tasks. From hours 9 to 16 after waking, your brain shifts. You become more creative but less focused. This is perfect for brainstorming, socializing, or creative work. However, don't try to force hard analytical work during this time. Work with your biology, not against it. Step 5. Build identity through evidence. Here's where everything comes together. You can't just do hard things occasionally and expect to become disciplined. Your brain needs proof. Therefore, you need at least one full week where you do the hard thing every single day. This isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. Because your identity is built through repeated action. Every time you choose the hard thing over the easy thing, you're casting a vote. A vote for the person you want to become. However, if you skip a day, don't skip 2. Life happens. You'll mess up. Just get back on track immediately. 1 day off is recovery. 2 days off is the start of quitting. Now here's what I promised you at the beginning. The most powerful technique that makes doing hard things almost automatic. It's called the 5% rule. When the task feels too big, too intimidating, too overwhelming, don't try to do the whole thing. Just do 5%. Ask yourself, where does my willingness to start this task begin? Want to work out but can't motivate yourself? Don't commit to a full workout. Just commit to putting on gym clothes, that's it. But then see how you feel. Want to study for 2 hours but feel stuck? Don't commit to 2 hours. Just commit to opening your notes and staring at them for 1 minute. But then see how you feel. Here's why this works. The hardest part of any task is starting. However, once you start, momentum carries you forward. Your brain realizes, oh, this isn't so bad. Therefore, you keep going, but you never would have started if you demanded perfection from yourself. The 5% rule removes the pressure. It makes starting so easy that you can't say no. However, starting is all you need, because once you start, you'll usually finish. Remember that invisible force from the beginning? The one that made everything feel impossible? It never disappears, but now you know how to control it. You understand your brain's fuel system. You know how to refill it. You know how to work with it instead of against it. That force doesn't own you anymore. You own it. Thanks for watching, and until next time.